G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. How are we all doing on this lovely afternoon? Man, it feels good to be out and riding as always. We did some good engine work yesterday on the car. Well, it was actually 2 days ago. Yesterday was more of a chillaxing day because I filmed 2 videos on Saturday. It felt nice to just do nothing. Played some Battlefield 6, played some Stardew Valley. Man, was just living large, baby. I've been so obsessed with Stardew Valley lately. A game I did not expect to grab me by the balls, as it were, so tightly. But ladies and gents, g'day, my name is Nathan. I make videos about motorcycles and motorcycle-related things. And when one of us gets bored about doing it, then I'll probably stop. But until then, let's get into it, ladies and gents. I have a topic today that's it's involving something that a lot of people are sort of umming and ahhing about, and that's riding modes. And look, I'm more against the idea of riding modes, but I understand riding modes. Does that make sense? I like the bike I'm having to just have a cable throttle, so the bike and the throttle are one. No electronics in that department, but I understand why you need electronic throttles now these days for your quick shifters and your riding modes and everything. But look, I don't really use quick shifters on this bike, and when I do have the option to use quick shifters, I like them, but I tend to forget about them because I'm so not used to using them. But riding modes, what is the real benefit of them? Look, I understand the idea of having rain mode, but I feel like most people who ride bikes in the rain still don't use rain mode. Having a sport mode is good and all, some bikes need it. A good example of a bike that benefited greatly, bloody hell, a bike that benefited greatly from a rain mode was the Indian Scout Bobber, the new one, when I rode that. Not a rain mode, a sports mode. Because when you ride that in basic mode, the throttle feels so long. When you ride in sports mode, it's just like, finally, power when it needs to be powerful and off. Whereas the Indian Chief, I would argue, doesn't need the sports mode, because when you're in normal mode, you feel plenty of torque, you feel plenty of oomph when you accelerate, but when you put it in sports mode, you're just riding around like normal and the bike's like jumping at you, like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, it really like throws off your smooth riding experience. It kind of ruins it, in fact. So I was not actually a big fan of sports mode on the Indian Chief. I think it could do without it. But look, your super sport bikes that have sports mode, power mode, Jesus Christ, I'm glad I filmed that. And all that stuff of the sort, you have a super sport bike, it's going to be powerful. You don't need to have power modes, come on man, just don't throttle it hard everywhere. But also, if you're inexperienced and you buy yourself one of these big ass bikes, I can understand needing one. But also, I'm of the mind that if you're inexperienced means you need to have sports mode, rain mode, standard mode, maybe the bike is too powerful for you and you shouldn't have it in the first place. You know what I mean? You're picking up what I'm putting down in that department. If you need the bike to have limitations so you don't hurt yourself, then maybe the bike is too much for you to handle. Back in the day, baby, they didn't have nothing. No ABS, no sports modes, nothing. It was really powerful, and if you can ride it, you can ride it. If you can't, you die. And I wish that we stayed like that, because people wouldn't be buying bikes they can't handle then. I mean, they would, but then they would have accidents, and maybe if they survive, they won't buy it again, and then that would put more people into the more fun category of bikes, which is the mid-size bikes. Now, don't think I'm against them, because like just because I don't like them doesn't mean I'm against them. I understand that there are some people that really like the idea of having more technology on motorbikes. I don't think more is better all the time. I really think that in a lot of cases, less is more. But I understand. This guy in front of me is a little bit wavy. This P-plater. Oh, goodness gracious me, he's all over the road, brother. Is he going to try and block me in? That's the real question. Find out next episode. No, he's not. He's just too busy doing something. I don't like being around traffic. That's one thing that everybody should know. Do not ride around le trafic, because it's just not worth it, man. But I'm on my way to work right now, and as I'm riding my motorcycle that has a cable throttle, no rider modes, it's got ABS, and that's it. It's got no traction control, nothing else. And I'm glad, because I don't want all these interferences. But, you know, some things, like, I wouldn't mind traction control or mid-corner traction control, because they can save you from having a bit of an oopsie-poopsie in some instances. That guy is wearing the same jacket I am wearing underneath my jacket right now. What could I say? It's a popular jacket. So, like, your mid-corner ABS, standstill ABS, I understand all that stuff's really good. Electronics in that regard are very nice, because, well, in Australia, we can't buy bikes without ABS anymore, brand new. They only sell the ABS models of brand new stuff. So we don't get the option anymore of the more dangerous and more fun ones, but I understand ABS. ABS is a good thing in 90% of cases, unless you're doing tracking. In that case, I can understand why it'd be a bit more annoying. But We can't have everything in this day and age, unfortunately. But, dude, riding modes, at least if you have a bike that lets you sort of set your riding mode, it stays in said riding mode. So if you don't like the idea of riding modes, you can sort of program it how you like. And most of these bikes that have riding modes have a custom one. So if you want to have less wheelie control, less torque control, engine braking, you want to have your power on full, you can do that, and you can leave it set in user mode or custom, whatever the hell they call it on your bike. Some bikes don't, but most bikes let you choose. And this sort of negates the argument. I know some people just don't like having to do that, like, oh, well, now I have to set my bike up. Now, I'm not against the idea of having a bike and needing to set it up and tailor it to one specific ways of doing it. Because having an electronic way of setting your engine modes and your power band and engine braking, hey, dude, I don't know if you realize this, but back in the day, if you wanted to change your stuff, it required you to pull the bike apart and do some modifications, you know what I mean? Nowadays, it's a click of a button. So as much as I like the bikes to have less, I can't complain, because if I want to have a bike that's, say, about a 200 horsepower bike and I want to limit it to 120 horsepower, 150 horsepower, you can do that. As opposed to the old days, you'd have to physically choke the bike in air intake and power delivery, fuel delivery. Having it being a digital system does make it a lot easier for most people to modify things. Why are we going slow? I shouldn't be catching up to you when I'm doing the speed limit, sir. So look, I get the argument, all right? I understand the joys and benefits of having it in this way, because, dude, I would rather have the option than not have an option at all. If I wanted to do such a thing, okay? If I wanted to change the power settings, I'd much rather have the ability to change it on the fly than having to do it the old-fashioned way. Now, I understand I'm sounding a little bit of hit or miss. My viewpoint sort of fluctuates from left and right here. I get that. It sounds a bit confusing, because I both do and don't like power modes, but like I said, I would prefer not to have them if I had the choice. Okay? But if I'm going to have them, I'd much rather have the options to do everything. Why are we stopping? What is all this about? We should have stayed in the bloody middle lane. It happens every time. I don't know, dude. Like I said, some bikes benefit from them, but the thing I find when you're having the electronic throttle is there's a slight delay. Now, when I rode the FTR 1200, I found the throttle was a bit delayed, and when you let go, it didn't just stop the throttle. Now, if you have a cable throttle, you let go, the throttle's done, all right, baby? Once it springs back, it's done. But on the electronic throttle, on the FTR especially, I let go, and it sort of didn't, it felt like it didn't turn off, it felt like it sort of wound off, you know what I mean? So, like, instead of being like, let go off, it'd be like, let go, and because it did that, I found that I would accelerate more than I wanted to accelerate, and I would over-accelerate up to the speed limit. When I would, say I wanted to hit 80, I'd end up going to 90 just because that's how the accelerator would work. And I'd be like, not really what I wanted, but I still liked how the bike felt. It's just, I don't know, it's a little bit funky. The fact that P-Plater is allowed to drive a Tesla van is outrageous. Those things should not be P-Plate legal. Same like the learner bikes. The learner bikes in Victoria, like, they let you touch any electric bike and consider it a P-Plate bike. And the full power bikes accelerate like leader bikes, dude. It's ridiculous. So how in God's name did that happen? But you know what? Who buys electric bikes? Not many people. So I'm not really concerned about people hurting themselves, because nobody buys electric things. Not in Australia, man. Only weird people buy Teslas. Ugh. One of my clients bought a BYD to the office because he goes, I was like, oh, you got a new car? He goes, how'd you notice? I'm like, well, I know your normal car. And he goes, yeah, it's this one. Do you like it? I'm like, no. Why would you buy some electric? And he goes, oh, come on, bro. I'm like, it's electric rubbish, mate. Get rid of it. I love them, but still, electric cars, no thank you. I live on V8 rumbles and the tears of my neighbours complaining about loud exhaust. That's how I live. But I was raised with Aussie muscle, and I'll die with Aussie muscle. Sorry, Tesla, you can wait a little bit. You can speed all you want, but you can let me through. But yeah, riding modes, man, it's a bit of a hot topic for a lot of people. Some people love it, some people don't. Some boys in a hurry. It's a 60 zone. He's definitely not doing 60. Do I care? No, because I'd rather be doing the speed limit on a petrol vehicle than a nerd in a Tesla. And I hated Teslas before it was the in thing to hate Teslas. Just because everyone decided to hate Musk, which I thought was really funny to hate the people who bought Teslas. But you know what? I find America very strange. You're either on the left or the right, and if you're in the middle and you have a differing opinion, you're a nobody, and they think you're a loser for not having a strong opinion. I don't get it, dude. Why can't people just be happy over there? What's wrong with, why does politics have to be yes or no, yay or nay? Like, Australian, man, we figured it out. Some people are really die-hard and political. Most of us don't give a shit. And you know what? The less you care about politics, the happier you will be. Every person I've ever met who's diehard into political stuff is miserable and angry and always pissed off, because that's the surest way to get pissed off. Because once you start getting into politics, everything will annoy you, because you'll realize the blatant corruption that you can't do anything about really makes you want to go full anarchist. And then you go, you know what? Now I understand Johnny Silverhand. If you don't know what that is, that's a Cyberpunk 77 reference. So whatever the hell that game's called. It's too deep, man. It's too, let's move on. But in terms of riding modes, boys and girls, let me know your opinions down below, because I'd love to see and hear and read whatever you guys think. If you have them, if you don't, do you use them? If you have them, if you don't have them, well then you can't use them. Let me know if you want them or whatnot. Give me some eye-opening experiences, man. You know what? The more I hear, the better it is. I've got plenty of comments to reply to lately. I love it. Everything I do, like the first thing I do before I upload the video is I load on my computer, or I wake up in the morning and look at my phone, but the computer's easier. Scroll down my big menu of notifications, go down to the bottom and work my way through it, because I love it. I'm a big fan of having to reply to people. It's that community aspect I'm so happy about with my YouTube channel. I love it, baby. But that's it, ladies and gents, for me. I do hope you've enjoyed today's video. Take it easy, keep it cheesy. You know I love you, but it's time to leave you, mutt. So have a wonderful, wonderful time. Bye.